Today our discussion is still going to be with adding and subtracting rational functions, but they're going to be a little bit more difficult. So I'd like to start, I'll work through 1, 3, and 5 on your 8.5b worksheet, and then I'd like you to finish them up on your own. So your notes for 8.5b will be on your worksheet, and I will work through those now. So recall that the rules for adding and subtracting is we must have a common denominator. So to get a common denominator, we're going to want to look at the least common denominator with 3 over 2b, and I'm going to factor the bottom out so I can see what the least common factor is. So I see that these each have a 3b. And now when I talk about getting the least common factor, I see that b is common. The common factor between a 2 and a 3 is a 6. And then we're going to need this b minus 5. So this is going to be our least common denominator. And then we're going to change these denominators so that they look like this. So we're going to have to multiply top and bottom by a couple different things. Here we're going to need a 3, and we're also going to need this b minus 5. So this would be 9 times b will be a 9b, and 9 times a negative 5 will be a minus 45. So that's how we get the common denominator for the first. The second one, we have the b, we have the b minus 5, but we need this 3 to be a 6. So we're going to multiply the top and bottom by 2. So notice I put those parentheses in there to remind me I have to multiply everything by 2. So 2 times b will be 2b. 2 times a minus 6 will be a minus 12. Now, next step is to clean up the numerator. The denominator you can just leave like this. And cleaning up the numerator means add like terms. So we'll have 11b minus 45 minus 12 will be a minus 57. Let's look at example 3. Again, step 1 is we must get a common denominator. Since if I factor out a 2 here, that's not going to really help us as getting a common denominator. So a common denominator here, nothing's common. So I'm going to need all of these denominators. Then we're going to change the fractions so that they look like this. So this has the 2, it has a v minus 3, but it needs a v minus 4. Let's distribute through. 4v times v is a 4v squared. 4v times a minus 4 is a minus 16v. Let's look carefully at what this second fraction has. It has a v minus 4, but it needs all of this. So it needs a 2, and it needs the v minus 3. So it needs a 2, and it needs a v minus 3 on the top. So the easiest way to distribute this is to call this 10v times v will be a 10v squared. 10v times a negative 3 will be my minus 30v. Let's combine like terms on the top. So the v squares are the same, so we'll call that a 14v squared. Negative 16 and negative 30 more is going to be minus 46v. Now in this case, I noticed that the numerator has a common factor of 2 and a v. So I'll factor that out, make this a 7v minus 13. Whoops, all over the 2, v minus 3, and a v minus 4. And just like we did with multiplication and division, if we have like terms on the top and bottom, we can get rid of them. This will be your final answer. So go back, highlight some things of getting common denominators. That's the trickiest part. And then simplify. Example 5. First thing we have to do is get a common denominator. So again, a common denominator, n minus 2 and 6 don't have anything common. So we'll need the n minus 2, and we also need a 6. So look at this fraction. What does it need? It has an n minus 2. It needs a 6 on the bottom. So we'll need to multiply by a 6 on the top. So when I distribute, I get a 6n minus 18. Now be careful here, we're subtracting. So we're subtracting. I always subtract and put parentheses so I remember to subtract the whole thing. We need this fraction to look like this. So it needs n minus 2. So I'll need to multiply the top by n minus 2. So when I distribute, 5 times n is a 5n. 5 times a negative 2 is a negative 10. So now, again, we'll do like we've done as far as simplifying the numerator. Anything that looks alike. So 6n minus 5n will be a 1n. Minus 18, be careful. Minus 18 minus a minus 10 is going to turn into a minus 18 minus a minus 10 is going to turn into a plus 10, or we'll get a negative 8 in the numerator. Okay. Nothing looks the same, so that will be our simplified answer. So I'd like you to use these 3 examples to work through the rest of the worksheet. I'll post the answers on the key and the work so you can check as you're going.